Hello, my friends. How's everyone doing? Hope you're having a great week. I'm talking today about compassion and how Christ created compassion. Um, and this is going to be brief, and I don't know, maybe I'll talk about it more in the future. But I just wanted to share this account. I came across this account in Scripture that really inspired me, really uplifted me, and I've taught some of my previous lives about compassion and the power of it. And there's just this example from Christ that demonstrates that power. And he also, when we look closely at the scripture, we get to see a little bit about how he created compassion, how he got himself to a place of compassion. So this account comes from um, 3rd Nephi chapter 17. This comes from a book of scripture called the Book of Mormon. And Christ is visiting people in the Americas. And he um, spent some time with, this account is with 2,500 people who said that in their record, they said, no tongue can speak, neither can there be written by man, neither can the hearts of men conceive so great and marvelous things as we both saw and heard Jesus speak. And it's this, so these 2,500 people were with Christ and they just had this incredible experience. So much, so much joy and blessings and prayers and healing and all of these incredible things. And it's just fascinating to look at the context of this and how this happened. So what's really fascinating is that before all this happened, Jesus had been teaching and he pauses, he takes a moment, he comes to an end of his teaching and he states what he's going to do next. He had already made a decision in his mind. He said, my time is at hand. Meaning, he was going to go. He said, it's time to go. It's time for me to go. And he gave his reasons. Why was he going to go? Because, first of all, he had been teaching a lot and they were tired. He said, you are weak and cannot understand what I'm commanded to tell you. And two, he mentioned other work he has to do, other people he has to see. And um, so he states this decision. He has this made up in his mind. He's about to leave. And then that changes. Ultimately, he ends up staying. And when he stayed, there's this incredible outcome, this incredible event that took place, incredible healing, prayers, blessings, and ministering and joy and all these incredible things. And so I just wanted to, what I noticed, what I asked myself as I was reading this is like, why did he change his mind? Why didn't he leave? What was it that caused him to stay? And when we look closer, there is, we find the reason. We find the answer, at least according to this account. In verse 5, it says, hold on. I just don't have it open. Hold on one second. Okay. I can summarize it if this takes too long. It's taking a minute for me to pull this up. So let me summarize what the account says. In summary, he stayed curious and attentive. He looked upon them. As he was saying, I'm about to leave, he looked upon them and he saw their tears. And, okay, I've got it. I've got the scripture now. So it says, when Jesus had thus spoken, stating that it was his time at hand and he was going to leave, he cast his eyes round about again on the multitude, and beheld they were in tears. And he did look steadfastly. Oh, sorry. So he let me start over. He cast his eyes round about again on the multitude, and beheld they were in tears, and did look steadfastly upon him, as if they would ask him to tarry a little longer with them. And he said unto them, behold, my bowels are filled with compassion towards you. And after he has that moment where he notices them in tears and his bowels are filled with compassion, then he, essentially from this point forward, this was the moment where he decided to stay. He said, what came next? He said, have you any sick among you? Bring them thither. Have you any lame, blind, halt, or maimed, or leprous, or that are withered, or that are deaf, or that are afflicted in any manner? Bring them, and I will heal them. For I have compassion upon you. My bowels are filled with mercy. And then it goes on, and he talks about their faith. And then he also commands that they bring their little children. And they bring their little children, and they surround him. And then when the children are there and they're all standing there, Jesus invites everyone to kneel. And then he also gets on his knees and he prays to the God. And the account says he prayed unto the Father, and things which he prayed cannot be written, and the multitude did bear record who heard him. And they bore record, saying, the eye hath never seen, neither hath the ear heard so great and marvelous things we saw and heard Jesus speak unto the Father. So there's this incredible, beautiful prayer that just extends beyond comprehension. And when Jesus made an end to speaking, he said, arise, and they arose. And he said, blessed are you because of your faith, and now behold, my joy is full. And it also says, so great was the joy of the multitude that they were overcome. And Jesus wept. And then he took their little children, and he blessed them, and he prayed unto the Father for them. And then he wept again. And then as they looked to behold, they cast their eyes toward heaven, and they saw the heavens open, and angels descended, as if it were in the midst of fire. And they came down and encircled those little ones, the children. And the children were encircled by fire, and the angels did minister unto them. And the multitude did see and hear and bear record, and they know that this record is true. Everyone saw this, 2,500 people. So it's this beautiful, beautiful account. And what made this possible? What changed? Christ was about to leave. This wasn't going to happen. He was going to leave, but he stayed. Why did he stay? Compassion. Oh, it's just so beautiful. He was filled with compassion. And I'm going to share this over email more in the detailed notes about how he created compassion. And if you'd like that, there's a link you can click. You can add your email, and I'll email this to you. But briefly, I'll just share how he got there. How did he create compassion? Well, if we look at that account, that verse, that one verse again, it says, he cast his eyes round about and beheld they were in tears. So I broke this down into some language that I can use to describe this. The first step that he took, he paused, right? Before actually leaving, he stated that he was going to leave, but then he paused. He paused long enough to notice. The second step is notice. He noticed the tears in their eyes. And then what happened? It said the tears, their eyes looked steadfastly upon him as if they would ask him to tarry a little longer with them. The way I put this into some applicable language for us to consider, he imagined, right? Notice the people didn't ask, at least we don't have an account. We don't have in the account of people saying, please stay. But what we have is Jesus imagining them saying, "Stay a little longer," right? As he looked upon them, he saw their tears. He imagined, it says, he was at, he looked at their tears as if they would ask him to tarry a little longer with him. And so when he paused, noticed, and imagined, what happened? He experienced this emotion, this compassion. He said, "My bowels are filled with compassion towards you." So I am going to continue to talk about this. Next time I'll call it part two. And I'm going to break down these three steps and share some questions that we can consider to help us pause, notice, and imagine. And why do we want to do that? I mean, this account again demonstrates the power of compassion. What compassion can lead to. It led to this incredible event, this incredible account, this incredible experience that these people had with Jesus. And compassion, what if we are intentional in creating compassion, what if it can do the same for us? What if it can lead us to this great and marvelous experience with ourselves and with God and with others? Okay, so stay tuned for next time. We'll continue to talk about this topic. I would love to hear any questions you have, any thoughts you have about compassion, or anything you'd like me to like address or talk more about next time. Well, in part two of this topic about how Christ created compassion and really what lessons we can take from that. Have a wonderful week. I will speak to you all next time.